If I'm using Photoshop or any Adobe program, it's always a really good habit to start off by just creating yourself a file, a folder. So I'm going to create a folder called Photoshop because that's what we're going to be using. And in here, I'm going to keep any inspirational images, or I might save my Photoshop document that I've been working on, so I can continue editing on it later, or I might save any of the stills in which I'm creating for my GIF. So once I've done that, I'm going to open up Photoshop, and the first thing you'll see is this page. You're just going to click on New File, or you can click on File, New at the top, and then you'll get to this first page here. We want to create a document that's 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters. So first thing I'm going to do, actually before I do that, I'm going to name it. So I'm going to call this moving type. And I'm going to say that the width is 15 centimeters and height is centimeters. If you're making any other document for any other reason, you can change it from centimeters to inches, millimeters, pixels, that sort of thing. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to change the resolution. So I want to keep the resolution here though at 300 pixels/inch. It's often said PPI, which stands for pixels per inch, but here it says pixels/inch. And that can be changed as well, but we want to keep it by inch. And pixels per inch, if you have around 300 pixels per inch, that means it's going to be very detailed in comparison to like 100 pixels per inch. So it's how many pixels we have in one shape. So if, for example, our document is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, we might choose to have a little less pixels per inch, because if we had too many, the file's going to be too big. But if we've got like a really big file, so if we've got one that's like 150 centimeters by 150 centimeters, we want to consider how many pixels per inch we want to use for that. The other thing that we're going to make sure we have is it's saying CMYK color, so that's the color mode, so that's considering when printing. And then we want to make sure our background is white. We can choose to have a black background or a transparent background, but for this we're going to have a white background. Then we'll ignore this, and then we'll just click create. And then we'll get to this page. Before you go any further, the things that you need to take into account when we're working today is you've got your zoom icon here, tool. If I click, I'll zoom in because it's got a little plus sign inside the magnifying glass. But if I press Alt, it'll give me a minus so I can zoom out again. The other thing I can do when I've zoomed in is I might need to drag or move around, so I can use the little hand tool here in order to move around to see different areas of my page. If you have a laptop or an Apple laptop, you can always just zoom in with your fingers, zoom in and out like that as well. So yeah, those are the two things that I think are really valuable to start. The other thing is layers, but I'll talk more about that in the next video.